pretty sarcastic. Verses 1 to 3. Then Job replied, "Oh, doubtless you are the people, and wisdom will die with you. But I have a mind as well as you. I am not inferior to you. Who does not know all these things?" You see, Job believed all that these men believed until it all happened and everything went pear-shaped. Now he's got no explanation. His theology has been bombed by circumstances. It's been blasted sky high, and nothing fits anymore. Nothing makes sense anymore. Instead of leading Job to self-judgment, when they attack him, as they viciously do, he keeps vindicating himself. And the minute Job becomes defensive and starts justifying himself, he is not justifying God. Look at chapter 13 and verses 1 to 5. "My eyes have seen all this," says Job. "My ears have heard and understood it. What you know, I also know. I am not inferior to you. But I desire to speak to the Almighty and to argue my case with God. You, however, smear me with lies. You are worthless physicians, all of you. If only you would be altogether silent. For you, that would be wisdom." Now, Job says he wants to go into the presence of God Almighty and there defend himself. He'll lose his case. He needs to cast himself on the mercy of God. But here he is, he's been so wound up by his friends, he can't work it out. Now this arrogant worldling who's suffering like no one has ever suffered is saying, "I want to come before God. I'll tell God a thing or two, but you've driven me with my back to the wall into this position where I'm seeking to justify myself and vindicate myself." When we're all at 6s and 7s, we lose our perspective. When our house collapses like a deck of cards, then we can't see straight, and often we don't think straight. And we say things we later regret because of the pain, because we're under pressure. Through all this, every now and then, there will come out of Job, as he is being crushed, a flash of faith, a statement of faith. It emerges under the most immense pressure. It's as if in the ground of his being there is still faith, and it is squeezed out. It's like your tube of toothpaste and you haven't got a new one, and you've used everything, and now you still want a little bit, so you even tread on it in order to get that last little bit out. And out of Job under very severe pressure. The heel is on him and something is squeezed out of this man who at his core fears God and shuns evil. And so he says in chapter 13, verse 15, though he slay me, yet will I hope in him. I will surely defend my ways to his face. What a faith statement. Though he slay me, yet will I hope in him. Do you remember much later in history those 3 Hebrew children that would not bow to the statue King Nebuchadnezzar had set up? And Nebuchadnezzar said, "You will bow or you will burn." And their response was, when the flute toots, and when the band plays, and when all your empire bow, we will not. If you fling us into the fiery furnace, then you will do that. If you don't, either way, we will not bow before the statue you have set up. If God rescues us, so be it. If we frizzle alive, so be it. Though he slay me, I will not deny him. I will stand. I will hope in him. And as you know, Nebuchadnezzar got the shock of his life, because having heated that furnace 7 times hotter than before, and Shadrach, Meshach and Abednego were put into the heart of the burning, blazing, fiery furnace, they had been bound. And suddenly someone says, "Look, O king, did you not cast 3 men into the flames? We see 4 men walking in the midst of the fiery furnace, and the form of the 4th looks like the Son of God. And they came out, and they were loosed, and not even the smell of the burning was upon them. They had stood for the King of Kings." And that great victory resulted in Nebuchadnezzar issuing an order throughout the length and breadth of his empire. You are to bow, but it's not to the silly statue I made. You're to bow to the God of Shadrach, Meshach and Abednego. He's able to deliver out of the fiery furnace. Theirs was a similar inflammable faith. Though he slay me, yet will I hope in him. Now, we're looking next at chapter 13 and verse 23 and 24, because Job is still asking for a showdown with God. Verse 23. How many wrongs and sins have I committed? Show me my offence and my sin. Why do you hide your face and consider me your enemy? So here is Job saying, okay, God, come on, level with me. What have I done? What have I done to deserve this? Spell it out, Lord. Don't hide from me. Come on, God. He is wound up, this man, but he's saying, God, bring it on. Come on. I want to meet with you, and I want to know why you're hiding from me and why you treat me like you would treat your worst enemy. Come on.